Hi everyone and welcome to Tozan Eats. Well, today's episode is all about coffee. In particular, I've got these Coffee Brewer. At the top here, it says CO2 neutral and reusable. So are these things really reusable? Let's find out. Lots of people have different ideas about how to drink coffee on the mountain. The easiest way is probably just use instant coffee, because that way you don't have to worry about a filter. You can pour the instant coffee directly into your cup, stir it up, and drink it. That's probably the easiest thing. Actually, no, the easiest thing to do is buy canned coffee from the vending machine. Put it in the side of your pack. When you want to drink a cup of coffee on the mountain, just open it up and drink it from the aluminum can. Make sure you get the cans that are reclosable. So canned coffee is probably the easiest. Second would be the instant coffee. And third would be these single-use packs. These you just put over top of your coffee cup and pour the water in. When you finish, it's kind of hard to keep the filter from getting your pack dirty. So usually what I do is after I open it, I put the filter back in here and I kind of try to wrap it up and put it in a plastic bag so that it doesn't get the rest of my pack wet. The advantage to using the reusable is, one, you can use fresher coffee beans. The ones that you buy initially to get started, this one says the beans expire in January of 2025. So they are vacuum sealed before you start opening it for the first time. I'll try to use this as much as I can to be a little bit more eco-friendly when I go into the mountains. To use these, you need to open up the seal on the top. There's instructions on the back in Japanese. If you peel off the Japanese, you can actually see the English instructions. But basically, you open it up, you pour the water in here, you close it up and you let it brew, and then you uncap this seal and you can pour it into your cup of coffee. After you make your first cup, then you can take it home, empty out the used coffee grounds, wash it thoroughly with water, rinse out all the other grounds, get the filter clean inside, and then hang it up outside to dry. And after it's dry, then you can use it for the second time. When you use this seal cap for the first time, you've got to snap it off. Unfortunately, after you snap it off, it doesn't really go back on. There's no threads in here to put it back on, so it doesn't actually stay on when you want to use it the second time. So unfortunately, you've got to kind of tape on this cap. So after you've used it for the first time, after it's completely dry and you're ready to use it for the second time, take it out, get out your coffee grounds. You either have pre-ground coffee grounds you can buy in the supermarket, or if you want to make it even more special, you can freshly grind your coffee. You want to use basically 20 grams of coffee grounds for 2 people, or about 10 for one. I ground about 12 grams for mine. And there's a line on the back that says if you want it strong or less strong, you can fill it up accordingly. This is made for 2 people, but since I'm using it by myself, I'm only going to fill up enough hot water to fill up my Mount Fuji coffee mug and drink it here on the mountain. So let's get started. Step 1, open the top of the coffee. You can see the ground coffee in here. Second, pour the water in. Pour in a little bit at first and let that bloom, and then I'll pour in the rest, kind of slowly. Smells pretty good. There's a couple of different varieties that you can buy. All of these are organic. These are beans from Guatemala with a medium roast. And these are beans from Ethiopia, also with a medium roast. I'm using a light roast Kenyan. Figured I would stay on the same continent at least and jump over to Kenya for these. So I'm just going to pour in the rest of this water. I pre-measured the hot water. This is a good thing to do when you're on the mountain, especially when you're not hiking in the winter in the warmer season and you want a warm cup of coffee. Instead of bringing a giant thermos full of a liter of hot water, just measure out exactly how much you'll need to make 1 cup of coffee, and you can save a little bit of weight that way. So I'm going to close this up. It says 4 minutes for a mild brew or 8 minutes for a strong. I'll probably do 5 minutes. So the next step after this brews, just pour it into your cup and enjoy it. After you finish pouring it in, it'll shrink back down. This thing will still stay a little bit warm for a while, so before you put it back in your pack, you may want to leave it out to cool. I usually slip this right on the outside of my pack. I've got a little sleeve here that I can slide stuff into, so it doesn't go into my main pack. It's a perfect flat place to put this. To go along with my cup of fresh coffee, I have brought some baumkuchen. This is from Mujirushi brand, which is a very popular store. Lawson has actually tied up with Muji, so if you go to any Lawson convenience store, you can find some Muji products inside of Lawson. This is a baumkuchen. There's lots of different flavors. I've chosen the matcha baumkuchen because I think it couples well with the coffee. These baumkuchen do have a tendency to get crushed in your pack, so make sure you put them at the top of your pack or somewhere where they won't get completely crushed. Okay, so let's taste test this along with my matcha baumkuchen. Baumkuchen looks like this. Very green and good for this season. Very nice. And here's the matcha baumkuchen. I must say it's made a big difference using the freshly ground beans. When I used this pack for the first time, these beans were already pre-ground and probably sitting in this package for a few months, so they weren't quite as fresh as what I've made today. The other thing I've noticed about this, it says it makes 2 cups, but they're kind of 2 small cups. So if you're going to be sharing between 2 people, depends on how much coffee you want to drink. But if you're having a small cup between 2, I think it's perfect. For single serving, it's actually probably works out to be about best, especially if you're using a cup of this size. You could probably order these online as well. I think I got this one at Ishii Sports or maybe Caldi Coffee or Jupiter. This is my first time to try using my own beans. When I finish, I'll take it home, I'll wash it out again, and I'll try it for the 3rd time. I'm not sure how many times I can use this with this filter before the filter gets weak and breaks, but we're going to find out. Well, that's it for another episode of Tozan Eats. I hope you learned a little bit about brewing your own coffee on the mountain. As usual, when you're in the mountains of Japan, safe hiking and safe eating. Thanks for watching.